Hello crafty friends, welcome to today's Die Cut December 2024 video. Today we're going to be creating 10 masculine cards, and by masculine I mean cards using patterns and colours and design ideas that might traditionally be associated with men and boys. However, these cards I hope will be suitable for anyone, and the designs especially could be adapted to any colour scheme you like. Speaking of colour schemes, these are the papers that I'm going to be working with. Now these all came from a pad that I got either from the works or from the range. I don't know if it's still available. It was a while ago that I got these, but you obviously use whatever papers you like. You could use DIY papers. I've also got these wood grain pieces here. Again, I think this might have been from the works. And for a metallic accent, I've got this matte gold, and I think this is a Violet Studio paper from Hobbycraft. For card number one, I'm going to use these stitched strip dies, and I think I'll cut the gold using the thinnest strip, so it's a bit of an accent rather than a predominant colour. And I think I'll use the wide ones for the teal and the narrower ones for the browns, I think. Right, I'll be back when I've done that. I've got all my strips cut now, and I've got a piece of scrap white card here, and I'm going to cover it in double-sided sticky. Now I'll peel that off and keep that there so I can put my hand on it. I'll cover the whole of this piece with my strips, alternating the teal and the brown and throwing in a strip of gold every so often. So we've got different patterns and different thicknesses of strips, different colours and a metallic in there. So I'm going to snip off the overhang. Now I'm going to cut this out with a stitched rectangle panel. I'll put the washi tape to hold this straight on the outside of the die so it doesn't stick to and potentially rip the pattern on the inside of the die, the bit that I want to keep. So I've got a nice panel now, a stitched rectangle panel of patterned paper strips. I use tape runner to pop this on a card blank, and I'll just trim the blank down to get a nice border all the way around the outside. For my sentiment, I'm going to use this stamp with its coordinating die. I've actually put it on a bit of foam because this is a temperamental stamp and it needs a bit of a soft surface to stamp into. I think it's a cheaper silicone stamp, so it kind of needs a bit of give. Now I'm going to pop the coordinating die over the top. I will put a bit of paper over the top there, can be any scrap paper, just so the ink doesn't transfer onto my cutting plate. So that's cut out nicely, and I've put some, I think it's about 2mm thick foam on the back. And now I'm going to add this down in the corner here, trying to get it straight, lined up with the strips on the card. You could pop it in the middle. So I'm thinking this card would work nicely on its own, but it would also work well with a bit of a die cut. So I've got a leafy branchy die cut, a bit of foliage. I'll add just a drop of high-tack PVA glue on the back of these leaves, and that can slot in under there. I mean, you could just cut it and put this down first, but I didn't think of that. And there we go, that's card number one done. If you wanted to jazz it up a bit, you could add some enamel dots, some Nouveau drops. You could put crystal glaze over your foliage. You could, as part of the sentiment creation process, heat emboss in clear embossing powder over the stamping so that it's slightly dimensional and glossy. Can't speak today. Right, on to card number 2. For card number 2, I've used these square frame dies to cut some frames. I've got a small dark teal, a large pale teal, and one of the paler browns for the medium size frame. They also cut out the square bits in the middle. For this large frame, I'm going to glue it down with a bit of matte gel medium, so I'm not going to add any dimension to this one. I'll put that here over to the left. I'll press it down with some non-stick paper and that'll just pick up any of the glue that's squirted out the sides. And with this middle size one, again, I think we'll go flat on the card. This one I'm going to pop up on a bit of foam tape. So this is very thin foam tape. It's 1mm deep and 3mm wide. So it provides a nice little bit of lift. It's quite easy to hide behind a frame like this. For this card, I'm going to add a gold globe. I think it needs a little bit more glue on the back. And I'm going to pop it on a bit of this teal paper. So I've stuck that down and now I'm just going to go around this, cut it with my scissors so that the globe has some colour behind it. Just give that a good press down, make sure everything's stuck. I've die cut another square frame, but this time from the spotty brown paper, slightly darker brown, because I think we need a bit of brown here to make that globe work, because it was all too green over here. So we'll add some glue to the back of that. And I've got a bit of foam adhesive here. Again, that is only about 1mm thick, so this should support the globe over that raised up square. And then just put a little bit of glue there and there. For some of my sentiments today, I'm going to be diving into my stash of pre-stamped and pre-die cut or guillotine cut birthday sentiments. This one says, hope all your birthday wishes come true. I've added some foam to the back and a bit of glue. And now I'm going to have it about there, overlapping the globe. Could add a few Nouveau drops again, or enamel dots, or some die cut gold circles, but I think I'm going to leave this one like that, at least for now. For card number 3, I've die cut some stitch circles from the pattern papers, and I want to cover the front of my card blank, and I think I'll use this wood grain paper. So instead of having a white border around the outside of my card panel, I'm going to give it a brown border, a wood grain border. Not much will peek out, but that's okay. So I've run tape runner around the edges and stuck that down, and now I can trim that. Now I've got a piece of this that I've cut with a stitched rectangle die. That's going to sit on here like this. And then I've got a stitched rectangle panel of white card that's going to go on top, and this is slightly smaller. This has been cut with the next size die down. Now I want to add some of these circles tumbling down, cascading down my card. So maybe if we put the big ones down first. So I'll stick these down with a bit of high-tack glue so they don't wander around before they've dried. think that'll do for now. I'll just chop off these that are hanging over the edge. For the sentiment on this one, I've got a very straightforward happy birthday that's been stamped and die cut, and I've put a bit of foam on the back there just to give it a bit of lift. And I am going to add to this one some little gold dots that I previously die cut, and these are from that same matte gold card that I've been using previously. And I think that will do for that one. Right, for card number 4, I have got 3 stitched rectangle panels, all exactly the same size. So with these 2, I'm going to stick them together. And I'm using post-it tape to reduce the risk of tearing when I remove it. And now I've got this butterfly outline die, and I'm going to put it about here. There is a coordinating stamp to go with it, and I'm going to use that in a minute. But we'll place that there, about there, I think. So I've now got an aperture there, and what I want to do is slice this into 3. So how wide is it? It is 10 centimetres, so 3 and a bit centimetres. So we'll do 6.6. So my plan is to have this stripy paper here with this bit of aperture, and then the teal coloured paper here with this bit of the aperture, and then just plain white here. And I want to stamp here with my butterfly that goes with that die. So I think we'll get that stuck down before we do the stamping, just so everything's in the right place. I'm going to use high-tack glue again to stop things shifting around. Now I'm going to take the butterfly and line it up in the aperture. Then I'm going to heat emboss it. So I'm going to give it a good going over with talcum powder, just to pick up any moisture or grease or glue. And I will use my mucky ink pad. This has got some accidental black ink on it, but it will show me where I've stamped my butterfly and if it's stamped properly. And because I plan to use gold on it, if you hadn't guessed already, the gold will cover up any coloured ink. Yeah, so it needs a little bit more around that area. I'll get my pressy tool and give it a good press. Still needs a little bit more, I think. Might take these out. I'm having a bit of an issue with these and silicone stamps. There, see? So I'll just shake over some of this gold. That looks fine to me. And I'll give that a good heat with my heat tool. And I've popped a bit of tape runner on the back, and I'm going to add this to my card blank. I'm going to have that white border all the way around. I'm going to use the same happy birthday that I used on the last card and pop it in that corner there. And I want to create some faux enamel dots, so I'll do that with the embossing powder that I used, so the golds match one another. I've covered this bit of scrap in embossing ink, and I'll cover it now in the same gold. So this is the die that I'm going to use. It creates some nice wobbly circles in different sizes, and I'll run that through my mini Gemini. To stick down my little circles, I'm going to put some matte gel medium again, just blob that around so it curves like that. And there we go, card number 4. For card number 5, I've die cut some ticket shapes out of my papers, and I've got a piece of smooth white card here that I can cut down with my stitched rectangle die. And I'm going to try and cover this whole thing in tickets with some little white gaps. Might need to cut some extra tickets. I'm using high-tack glue to stick these down so that they don't shift about. If I use matte gel medium, it's not very grippy, so I could easily knock the tickets askew. That's all covered now. I'm going to chop off the overhang before I do anything else. Just makes it a little bit easier to work with. Now I'm going to cut this down with my stitched rectangle die. Get that lined up nice and straight on there and hold it down with a bit of post-it tape. You don't have to cut things out with rectangle dies. You can just have a guillotine or scissor or trimmer cut panel. But I think sometimes it just gives it that little bit of something extra. There we have a ticket panel. I think I was going to have it that way up. For my sentiment, I've got this pre-stamped and die-cut happiest of birthdays to you. But I want to put it on something. So I'm thinking either that way or that way. This grid cut from this matte gold. I'm going to put a bit of baking parchment between the die and the card just to make sure that it comes out easily and doesn't tear. So that's come out all right. I did manage to accidentally not cut the end properly, but hey, you know, I don't think anyone's going to notice. So I'll put some PVA there and pick up my little glue applicator here and just tap that across the back. There we go. So let's do portrait. Let's do it that way up. Make sure we get it on straight. Use some non-stick paper to press it down and pounce a damp baby wipe over the top to pick up excess glue and smears. I can use a baby wipe to wipe the glue off my applicator. I put some 2mm thick scraps of foam on the back of this and I'm going to put that hopefully in the middle fairly straight. Oh, if I can get it off my tweezers. And that's card number 5 done. I'm really enjoying these colours and these patterns. And although these are masculine cards, they're definitely something that I would be happy to receive. In a similar vein to the last card, I've die cut some stitched hexagons, all the same size, out of all the colours and patterns, and I've got a gold one. And just like I did with the strips, I'm going to cover the whole panel with double-sided adhesive and put my hexagons on. Right, I think I've got that all covered and I think I've managed not to put 2 of the same pattern next to each other. I'm going to die cut this with the stitch rectangle panel again. So I've cut that down, popped it on a card blank, and I did manage to tear this bit of paper here. So I've got some walnut stain and a tiny little brush. This is a makeup applicator that I picked up from Superdrug for about, well, it was a pack of 4 different size brushes for about 50p. It was on sale. And I'm just gonna, and I'll add a bit of ink over that area. It probably actually makes it stand out more. You probably wouldn't have really noticed it if it was white, but I think this walnut stain is a pretty good match. So I've got my gold one here. I decided to have it down the bottom rather than at the top. I think it just lends itself more to the foundation of a focal spot. I'm thinking of something foliagey there. I've used this die to cut a white branch. I think that works size-wise. And it brings some of the white from the outside to the inside. Put that on this 3rd line here. To add my birthday greetings, I've got a happy birthday die cut here. And I think we'll put that on the 3rd going across like that. I think this needs a little bit of something else. I think we need to spread the gold out a bit. So I've cut some smaller hexagons out of gold. Put this one here. Tuck it under that leaf. And I've got this little one here. And I think that one will do. For card number 7, I've used these leaf dies to die cut some brown leaves, and I've got a strip of this teal paper and a panel of smooth white card, and I'm going to stick that to the right hand side. I'm also going to take some of these skinny strip dies and cut some strips of this matte gold. I've put some skinny double-sided tape on the back of these gold strips to make them really easy and quick to stick down, and I'm going to put them on top of the green at the edges. Just going to create a nice little bit of subtle dimension with the gold on top of the green. So I've cut that out with a stitched rectangle again, and now that's got stitching there and there. I think that just ties everything together. So that's now on a card blank, and I'm thinking of using this happy birthday again and having a little sort of wreathy, leafy cluster around it. So I think we'll start with the darkest ones, put those in the background. Just maybe have 3 of those like that down there, and then pick this one, which is the next darkest, but do 3 different leaves to these. That would go there, that's about 1/3 of the way up, and we'll push it over there a bit. And then the lighter colour leaves on top. I think we'll go for the small, whoops, come back. I think we'll go for the smaller ones so they don't obscure what's behind. And then I'm going to put this in the middle horizontally, get it nice and straight hopefully. I've used this little sprig die to die cut some green sprigs out of this paper here, because I think I want a little bit of this green towards the front. Just chop that one down a bit so it's not quite so long. There we go, 3 little sprigs. Apologies for the droning in the background, someone's using some kind of power tool somewhere. So that's that one done, card number 7. You could, if you wanted, add maybe some inking around the edge of the leaves to give them a bit more definition, bring out some of the embossed lines. You could dot around some Nouveau drops, enamel dots, etc. I'm quite happy with that. And we're on to card number 8 now. I've got these speech bubble dies, and I've die cut 1 bold teal paper and 2 paler brown papers. So this is going to be the eye-catching part. I want to have them clustered, maybe something like that. The 2 brown ones in the background, and then the teal one in the foreground. I'll put the brown ones flat on the card, and I'll pop the teal one up. So this is 2mm foam tape, just some scraps from my pot of foam tape scraps. That can go in the middle. I'm going to use this Have the Best Birthday Ever sentiment, but I'm going to split it in 2 with some scissors. I'm actually going to take the second half of the sentiment from a different piece so that I can get a good bit of white around the edge. And to make those edges look die cut rather than scissor cut, I'm just going to press down on them with this embossing tool, and I'll add them with a little bit of high-tack glue. You could, if you wanted, put those at a bit of a jaunty angle. I want want to add a bit of gold to this. So I'm going to use these wobbly circles that I die cut for is it the butterfly card, I think, wasn't it? Just blot up any excess glue by gently dabbing with a damp baby wipe. And there you have a very simple, quite clean, have the best birthday ever card. For card number 9, I've got this banner die, and it cuts out a banner kind of trim, and then obviously the bits that go inside the trim. I'm going to take one of my gold trims, dip it in some high-tack glue and place it in the top half. So I think that's more or less central and straight. And in a minute I'll add a couple more up here and here, I think. But my main banner is going to have this bold green in it. Now I can put these little tiddly bits in their little holes. Now I'm going to add these 2 frames either side like this, so there's a bit of a diagonal going on. Now I'm going to use this pale brown paper to go in here, in the top and the bottom ones. This will just push the attention to this banner here. I'm going to use one of these scripty happy birthdays on a bit of foam tape, bang in the middle there, so that everything draws the eye to this one focal spot. But while I'm here, I'm going to add some little dots, just 1, 2, 3 in that corner, and 1, 2, 3 in that corner. And I'll take these little gold dots out of here again and put them in the corners, just for a little bit of a finishing touch, so these 2 subsidiary banners don't look so empty, but it also adds a nice bit of framing. And I think that's card number 9 done. For card number 10, which might actually be 10 and 11, I've used this star net die to die cut out a gold net and a pale teal net. And I've got all the star shapes that have come from the inside, hopefully, if I haven't lost any. I'll use my little basting brush to add glue to the back of this. Do the same with the other one. Right, now I'm going to get the gold star insides that I got when I cut that one and stick them somewhere. I've got to figure out where they go. So again, I'm going to use these happy birthdays, put them in the middle, about a third of the way down the card. I've added a little bit of foam tape to the back as well. And I think those make 2 lovely, clean and simple birthday cards. If you didn't have the net die, you could always create a cluster of stars in a similar way with, say, a set of nesting star dies. But that's card 10 and card 11 done. And there you have it, a whole bunch of cards made using shapes, designs, colours, patterns fonts that might be considered to be more masculine. But as I said at the beginning, I hope you're able to adapt these card designs and ideas to suit any recipient. And I hope you've enjoyed today's video and it's given you plenty of ideas to use in your own card making. If it has, do let me know in the comments, leave a thumbs up, subscribe and ring that notification bell. And I'll see you back here tomorrow for day 29 of Die Cut December 2024, and it's going to be a viewer's choice video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.